Hey guys, thanks for joining. I'm going to start off with a question for all of us. What is beauty worth? For many of us, beauty is worth our time, worth our money. Did you know that global retail sales reached about 446 billion in just in 2023? Millions on millions are invested into skincare products, makeup, hair products, not just to look good, but to feel good, to express ourselves and to belong. And it is understood that beauty is, at the end of the day, very powerful. But what if I told you beauty came at a cost that we couldn't quite see? What if the price of our mascara was pain, suffering? Every year, millions of animals are subjected to cruel and unnecessary tests for cosmetic products. We are becoming ethically compromised for the sake of lipstick and eyeliner. Cruelty is not pretty. Beauty products should not be tested on animals, not only because it is unethical, but also because of the way it is negatively impacting us economically. Animal testing in the cosmetics industry has been happening for decades. For some background information, in 1993, the United States Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act was created. And this act required cosmetic companies to take new safety measures, which included the start of animal testing, unfortunately. These new safety requirements were a way to measure the safety of products before they reached store shelves, especially during a time when regulations were limited and consumer protection was still developing. But as science has progressed, so has our understanding of both animal science and that there are alternative testing methods. Today, cosmetic companies in the United States aren't required to test on animals any longer. However, companies in the US and around the world still use animals like rabbits, mice, rats, guinea pigs to test ingredients for products like mascara, lotions, and shampoos we use every day. These tests do often involve forcing chemicals in an animal's eyes or shaving their skin and then putting the chemicals on it to check for irritation, or in worst cases, force feeding substances to monitor toxic effects. And then after that, the animals are then either left for to be killed or left to suffer. The beauty industry is one of the largest industries today to be affected by animal testing. According to statistics from the Florida Bar Journal, over 1 million animals were tested on for cosmetic purposes just in 2019. This also means that approximately $800 was spent for each and every animal tested on that year. In total, more than $600 million was spent on animal testing just for these cosmetic products. The question that we maybe don't ask ourselves too often is where is this money coming from? What money is being spent on animal testing for these cosmetics? According to the National Institutes of Health, taxpayers have paid over 1.7 billion for the funding of testing cosmetic ingredients on animals over just the past decade. Unnecessarily, might I add, as it is no longer required for companies to test on animals and there are several alternatives. However, it isn't illegal, so the US and many companies do still do it. The graph here shows the percentage of what cosmetic users find most important when buying a product from a company. The graph shows that 43% of customers think it's important that the companies they are buying from do not test on animals, which is pretty good. Although those buyers feel it is important, that leaves over half of the customers that don't see it as a deal breaker. If cosmetic companies see that a majority of their audience will still buy their products even if they test on animals, then this tells businesses they can keep testing on the animals. If we work together to maybe stop supporting animal cruelty beauty products, then the companies will decide that not testing on animals will attract more customers and help put a stop to this unnecessary cruelty. Although the United States has yet to make animal testing for cosmetic products illegal, there have been some safety measures taken to prevent this by other countries. A national cosmetics animal testing ban passed in New Zealand in March of 2015, and then 2 years later in March in Guatemala, that same ban was tested, as you can see here. Not only is animal testing for cosmetics harmful to the animals, but it is also very expensive and results in inaccurate research. Experiments in a petri dish can be more reliable than performing the test on animals, and many of these tests that are being done on living animals can be done through technology we have today without having to harm any living thing. For example, scientists have been doing experiments in test tubes called vitro. The methods are still based on human cells and on human tissue. Using this vitro method to execute the experiments is much more practical. In vitro international synthetic skin takes from up to 4 hours, but to as little as 3 minutes. Vitro testing and glass testing, which means the tests are done in a glass, where studies are done with tissues in little cultures or cells, while testing on animals can often take up to 2 to 3 weeks just for comparison. The traditional testing of chemicals using animals can take up to 5 years per substance and cost millions of dollars, while non-animal alternatives can test hundreds of chemicals in a week, mind you, for a fraction of the cost. The solution here is to stop supporting beauty businesses that still test on animals, not just because you'd literally be saving lives, but also because it is financially beneficial for us as an economy, and the testing of our products will be even more reliable and effective. Our human bodies and genetics are so different from that of a rabbit or mice. With these alternative testings, our beauty products can work even better. If we all take a stance together against the unnecessary abuse on animals, brands, and companies, especially here in the US, they'll be forced to make a change for the better. Like I said, cruelty isn't pretty. Thank you guys so much.